Well, President Biden is making more false claims, this time about gasoline prices, as he pushes oil and gas companies to bring down prices and encourage business to cut off lending to fossil fuel. Watch this.
We've made historic progress. We've made historic progress with the price of gas down $1.30 since the beginning of the summer. In some few states, it's below $3.
Yeah, there are 5 states with the cheapest gas prices in the country, according to AAA, and not one of them is below $3 a gallon. There is no state in the $2 a gallon frame, which the president just falsely said. Gasoline prices are also higher. Families are also bracing for higher heating oil bills this summer and going into the winter, rather. The National Energy Assistance Directors Association says the average cost to heat a home this winter will increase by 17.2% year over year. Joining the conversation all morning long this morning is Tiana Lowe and Hogan Gidley. Tiana, we know that this president has made a career out of misinformation to the American people, but this is the kind of thing that you can check very easily. There's no state with $2 gasoline.
Joe Biden is a serial fabulist, maybe in a bit of a less creative way than his predecessor. Sorry, Hogan. But Biden just lies about obviously, checkable facts, right? And let's not forget that the entire downward pressure on gas prices came from 2 things. One, it came from oil demand contracting to the lowest point since the peak of the pandemic in July 2020. Number 2, it came from Biden digging into our strategic petroleum reserves, which are now at the lowest level in 40 years. Those strategic petroleum reserves are meant to be there as a hedge against actual obstructions to our oil supply. Things that are out of our control, like natural disasters, like OPEC instituting more onerous supply cuts, which is something that just happened again, right? It is not there because of our failure of domestic policy, because of Joe Biden and this administration deciding to wage war on domestic oil producers, on their war on us being energy independent.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because we are down to some serious levels here in the strategic oil reserve. And you're right. It was supposed to be for serious crises. And yet not only is he selling oil from there, but he's selling it to China, to our adversary, which I'm speechless. Hogan, a major U.S. Green Group, meanwhile, influencing the Biden administration's policymaking, has deep ties to the Chinese government. The Natural Resources Defense Council has worked on climate issues extensively in China since the 90s, and several of its top officials have worked for the CCP or government-sponsored institutions, Hogan. So is that why he's selling our petroleum to China?
It sure seems like it. Who knows what Hunter Biden's ties are with these companies as well. A lot of questions need to be answered if Republicans do actually take over in Congress. What I always find interesting about Joe Biden's argument here, he acts as though these things are happening to him. They're happening because of him. These are his policies. And when he throws his hands up and says, hey, whether it's the southern border or our energy production, you can't just click a switch and fix it. Of course you can. Just click the switch back to the Donald Trump setting where we were net exporters of energy for the first time in decades, and we had low gas prices. This is all his doing, all his fault. The people know it, and it's going to hurt him politically in the midterms, no question.
And it was Trump that filled up the strategic petroleum reserve.
And they objected to it.
Down at what? Like
they objected to that too.
$20, $30 a barrel. Yeah. They didn't want him to fill it up.
Nope.
Thank God he filled it up.